Hello there, and welcome back to Hydroponics Daily, your go-to podcast for everything soilless cultivation. I'm your host, Dr. Russell Sharp, the founder of Utrema Limited. And if you follow Utrema on social media, you will have seen me call out the great big amorphous orange blob that is Donald Trump. And because he was claiming to be the world's expert on grass, sports turf. And I said, hang on a minute, I think I know more about sports turf than you, Donald, because I've invented several unique sports turf products, and I've come up with the world's only bioherbicide against a grass weed. So that was a bit of fun. And then today, not so much fun, the Donald has stated that paracetamol, or as it's called in America, Tylenol, causes autism, with little to no scientific evidence for that. So today we're going to talk about the effects of paracetamol on plants. And let's do some deep dive into the research and see if there's any evidence or effects of paracetamol when you apply it to plants. This is very common in horticulture. You find something that's bioactive in one species or one in humans, and you apply it to plants to see if it works. Like Viagra, we found that Viagra stops cut flowers from wilting, and aspirin stops ethylene being produced. So it's very similar to salicylic acid. And then paracetamol is related to aspirin, so we'll see if there's any effects of paracetamol or Tylenol, as it's called in America. The correct scientific name for this compound is acetaminophen, but I find that really difficult to say, so I'm just going to say paracetamol. And we're going to review the research, and the effects are usually either neutral, there's no effect, or negative, unfortunately. So the short answer is don't be applying paracetamol to your plants. But what happens? Well, it's water soluble. So just like you have those fizzy dissolvable versions, and it can be taken into roots and sometimes into the shoots. So lettuce and spinach plants do this in hydroponics and in controlled setups. And there's a number of studies that show that. When it gets into the leaves, well, plants are able to detoxify it. So they can get rid of this drug, this pharmaceutical, and they do that by glutathione or glycosylation, basically adding either an amino acid or a sugar to it to detoxify it. So there's clear evidence in cucumbers and plant cell models for that. But if it stays around, it can cause physiological stress, and its exposure triggers oxidative stress responses, increase in antioxidant enzymes, and but this is normally a good thing if you're looking for, crop taste or quality or things like this, resin production, but it can impair photosynthesis and growth depending on the dosage and the timing. So you definitely don't want that. So in lettuce, 0.1 to 5 milligrams per litre, which is very, very small amount. We think of 500 milligrams as being a tablet, isn't it? So that's 100th or 500th of that. For 1 to 15 days, uptake plus oxidative stress signaling, higher levels trend towards physiological impairment. So only very small amounts required there for stress in plants. And what else can we see from the data? In maize, it not only did it affect the stress signals and photosynthetic rates, it also altered DNA methylation, and that will impact development as the plant goes along. And even the most basic of studies have shown that basically if you apply paracetamol in a dose response, the growth is inhibited. But interestingly, if you apply a silicon fertiliser, that can mitigate against the effects. Another good reason to apply a silicon fertiliser. So unlike aspirin, paracetamol doesn't have any beneficial effects on plants. And so we think of aspirin and paracetamol as being similar. They're both phenolic and they both prevent or reduce pain, especially things like headaches. However, paracetamol is not a salicylate, so it's not going to have the effects. It's not going to mimic salicylic acid in the plants. It's only going to have inhibitory effects on the plant growth. So nothing as severe as, rewriting someone's mental facets, like causing autism, things like this, that's been claimed by Donald. But if you're a plant, photosynthesis is key, and so any small amount of paracetamol or Tylenol will do that. Luckily, paracetamol is very easy to degrade with ozone and UV, so any sort of filter that removes organic compounds will get rid of this. You shouldn't have any contamination anyway. You should, in tap water or especially if you're using RO water and things like this, rainwater, it's not going to be an issue. There are plenty of other things in your tap water to be concerned about other than Tylenol and paracetamol. So remember, don't link it to aspirin. It's a completely different compound and very different effects on plants. So don't be applying paracetamol. Don't be taking paracetamol when you're growing hydroponics and then weeing on your plants and stuff like that. Okay. Yet another completely impractical episode of Hydroponics Daily. I'm sure we'll eventually get back to the really good stuff. In the meantime, while you're waiting, if you can leave me an Apple Podcast review, it would make my day. If you listen on any other platforms, chill out and relax. It doesn't matter because reviews on those sites are worthless. It's only Apple Podcasts that I care about. So if you've got any requests for episodes, you've got any corrections or points of view, please contact me because I'm more than happy to list your thoughts and thoughts from the community on episodes as we go forward. We're now in September and we've still managed to do an episode every single day. That's the longest New Year's resolution I've ever stuck with, certainly compared to any of go to the gym or eat healthily and things like that. So I'm really proud. We've only got a few more months really, haven't we, until the end of the year, and then we can decide what we're going to do with it after that. Might even go bigger and better. Might do video podcast every day. No, that would be too much. I hate doing video podcasts. There's so much more effort than just sitting down and pressing record when I'm bored at work. So yeah, it's been a tough one this week because everyone else is either off ill with broken legs or off on holiday. So I've been flying solo in the office, but I still managed to do this. So really enjoying it still. Thank you very much for listening. And until tomorrow, goodbye.